In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 reasons why trading gurus are ineffective educators. I'm going to be looking at this video from the point of view of an educator. I've been a teacher for the past 20 years and I've also been an options trader for the past 12 years. Let's jump straight into why I think trading gurus are not effective educators. Reason number 1, they teach using fear. I still remember that trading workshop that I went to when I first started to learn how to trade, where the trading guru was standing on the stage and he was telling me in this loud booming voice, telling all of us in a loud booming voice, always remember to put your stop losses. Always remember to put your stop losses. If you don't, the consequences are going to be very, very severe. You might lose your house, you might lose your car, you might lose your kids, you might get a divorce. In a separate trading workshop, another trading guru, where I was learning options trading from, told us, never let your short options get assigned. And he went into a long story of what happens when your short options get assigned. Your strategies are going to be messed up. Your vertical trades are going to be broken into two. He went on and on about how getting options assigned is a terrible thing and how he boasts that in his entire trading lifetime, he has never gotten options assigned once, not even once. Here's the funny thing though. If he's never gotten options assigned, why is he telling us that it's a bad thing? Remember how our parents used to scare us when we were younger, when they used similar fear tactics to educate us? Hey, don't touch the chocolate, later the uncle come and catch you, they call police on you. Or the kid is jumping around, jump some more, later fall down, break your head, go to hospital. You see that? Jump some more. What happened in those strategies of using fear to educate? When fear is used as an educational tool, the students get overly cautious about everything. When gurus use fear to teach trading, students become overly cautious and they no longer have the courage to take opportunities when they present themselves because they're always wondering, what is going to happen to me? Am I going to lose a lot of money? Did I put my stop loss? And before you know it, the opportunity is gone. This is really ironic in the world of trading because trading inherently is risky. If we don't want to take risks, don't trade. Don't learn to trade. Reason number 2, there are no assessments given. So here's the really weird thing. If you think back on your educational journey ever since you were in primary school all the way up to, whatever, even in university or in college, I'm pretty sure that at some point you had tests or assignments or exams. They were just a part of the educational journey, isn't it? You probably hated it, just like I hated it. But here's the thing. These assessments are absolutely necessary. In the educational field, there's a saying that says assessments drive learning. And they absolutely do. When we take a look at something known as the forgetting curve, which is the amount of information that's retained as a function of time, we can see that the amount of information retained would drastically decrease as the number of days go by, meaning to say we forget what was taught to us. It's very, very normal. Whenever we review what we have been taught, that memory goes up to 100% again and then it starts to decay. But notice that the decay rate starts to slow. The more times we review, the better retention we would have. This is what assessments do. Assessments force us to review our work. Face it, if there were no exams, if there were no assessments, if there were no projects, there's a very high chance that you wouldn't remember what you were taught. Assessments drive learning, and whatever is not assessed is easily forgotten. Hence, this is the second reason why I think trading gurus are not effective educators. Trading gurus do not give us assessments to do. I have yet to come across a trading guru teaching a workshop or a class for financial education where they actively give tests and assignments for the students to accomplish and to test their knowledge. Chances are within 3 months of completing their course, we would have forgotten about 80% of what was taught. Reason number 3, there is no peer learning involved in the classes. In educational academia, there are 2 different terms that we can use to describe a student's state of mind when they are learning. One is known as active learning and the other is known as passive learning. Active learning is the one that's very effective. It is where students take whatever that they've learned and then they toss this information around to each other. Every time they ask something to a friend or every time they have to digest it and do a piece of work or every time they argue about which is better among their classmates, they are taking that information and then they're repeating it again and again inside their head. Better than that, somebody else challenges their understanding of what they have learned. And every time a challenge is put, they have to dig deeper to want to synthesize everything that they have understood and then to elaborate it to their friends again. Every time they can articulate something properly, whatever they've learned becomes even more cemented into their brains. All educators really want to have active learning happen in their classrooms. This is what all educators really should be striving for. Passive learning, on the other hand, is just simply for a student to sit there and receive information. Now, the information that the teacher is feeding them might be very interesting. In fact, the teacher might be a fantastic storyteller. But at the end of the day, all the students are simply doing is sitting there receiving that information. And all of this is passive. To be able to turn passive learning into active learning, what then has to happen is to give opportunities for students to discuss, for the students to ask questions. But asking of these questions is active learning, particularly when you're asking this question to a peer. The peer receives the question, thinks about it, wonders what the correct answer should be, and then replies it back. This back and forth will then constitute active learning and is something that should be encouraged in class. The problem though is that training gurus seldom ever allocate time for active learning. There is a very simple fix for this, which I wish all training gurus would do. Simply have more activities in class. Allocate half an hour's time or 1 hour's time in the entire class for students to do an activity. That would of course involve creating an activity from scratch, but that is well worth the investment in the time because our students learn a lot more. Reason number 4, lack of hands-on activities. Sometimes we see the training guru do live trading, and that is a fantastic way for the guru to build credibility for themselves. However, students rarely, if ever, get the opportunity to do trading during class time. So there are a couple of reasons why I think this might be the case. One of the reasons is because there might be just too many things that the guru wants to teach. There's a lot of knowledge that wants to be transferred over to the student. And because there's so much knowledge, there just simply isn't enough time to cover everything. Well, here's one more to consider, a more sinister one. Any experienced trader would tell you that whenever we take a trade, things don't always go necessarily as planned. In fact, if things go as planned 90% of the time, we would be fantastic traders. Imagine a trading guru allows their students to do paper trading in class where they do live trading. Let's say, for example, they are scalping the S&P 500 using futures and they're using paper trading platforms, so there isn't actually real money involved. The students follow 100% as they were taught by the guru. Unfortunately, by following 100%, they didn't make money on that trade. In fact, they lost money. Hence, the student would then ask, why is it that I follow 100% of what you taught me and I'm still not profitable? This would then inconvenience the training guru because the guru would then have to backtrack and want to justify why it didn't work. All of this will cause the guru's credibility to drop. And hence, we go into the 5th and most important reason why I think trading gurus are ineffective educators. Reason number 5, the spotlight is on themselves. Yes, the trading guru wants the spotlight to be on them. Some trading gurus teach a class not because they want their students to learn, but rather they want to reinforce a particular image of themselves as the expert. Everything in point number 1 to 4 leads here because this is the root of the problem. There is a saying in education academia, the sage on the stage. The sage will be the all-knowing teacher that is standing on the stage sharing his information with you, and everybody in the audience is supposed to worship the teacher like the sage who knows everything. Well, unfortunately, that is the mental model that trading gurus want to have. These trading gurus simply want to reinforce their personal image as the experienced, better hardened trader who knows more than you do. By reinforcing this status, they then will be able to get more gigs, more speaking gigs, more paid gigs, and get more students as well. More and more students want to learn from them because it seems, wow, you seem to really know a lot. But you see, I don't really have to emphasize this, do I? The workshop isn't about the person teaching. The workshop is about the people who are learning, the students. Let me take the earlier reasons 1 to 4 and let me weave them together to let you see that point number 5, where the trading guru puts all the spotlight on themselves, is the root of the problem here. Reason number 1 earlier was they teach using fear. By teaching using fear, the trading guru emphasizes their experience because they've been through this before. By emphasizing their experience, it makes them feel that I am more experienced, I know more than you do. You better do what I tell you, if not, there are going to be consequences, and don't blame me if you lose money. Reason number 2, there are no assessments, and reason number 3, there's no peer learning, is because they want to spend all that time telling you content. I have so much I want to tell you because there's so much that I know. I'm not going to take time for you to do exercises. That's just going to take time away from me being on stage telling you how much I know. And reason number 4, there is no hands-on because they don't want to lose their credibility when those hands-on practices don't go the way they plan, especially when they follow everything that was taught and then the trades turn sour and they have to answer to the students and it just makes their credibility drop. And that's the last thing that they want, because the reason why they're doing the workshop is to build their own personal brand. Look, just imagine going back to primary school, seeing that teacher in front of your class. That teacher is supposed to teach you English, but you constantly get that feeling that all that teacher wants to do is to shout loudly to the entire world, to the whole class, how much she knows more than you do. That's your teacher? Now, if you found that troubling, then you should find all trading guru workshops troubling, because that's exactly what they're doing. They are less interested in how much you learn and more interested about themselves. Look, after being a teacher for 20 years, it really does pain me to say things like that about fellow educators. But the truth is, I don't think trading gurus are educators at all. Education is not something that you can just go on a stage and say. Not every expert is an educator. Do not diminish the skills and the experience of a teacher. It's not easy to teach. There are many, many things to learn. There are many skills to pick up. It is a skill and an art in itself. So for trading gurus who have made money in their craft and then thinking that they can just simply become an educator and teach other people how to trade, is an insult to educators. It really is an insult. It's not easy to teach. Trading gurus, if you're watching this, I highly encourage you to go and take a course in education and see for yourself how difficult it is and all the different variety of things that we have to consider, because we want our students to learn. Remember, it's about the students. It's not about you.